evening, everyone. Welcome to Dogs Down South. Hope you're having a great evening. I'm your host, Ted Turner. I'm here with the Fish, Adam Fisher. What's up, Adam? How are you, buddy?
What's up, buddy? Good. Glad to be here, man. After another little hiatus.
Yeah, man. I just called
Wish
you a
my work
government.
schedule was like our schedule. Work whenever I want.
Yeah, I just called you by your government, man. I usually just say Fish. So I know
It's
everybody
okay.
sees your
It's
name
all
on the
right.
screen, but I got to get that right next time. Sorry.
That's
But
all right.
hey, man, cool to hang out. This is we're heading into the end of June and into July, which a lot of things go on in July. You look at very close to media days, SEC media days here, right close to me in Tampa, Florida. I'm still waiting on them to call me with all of my credentials for media day. That's a joke. But if they do, if anybody is hearing this podcast and would like me to get me some credentials for SEC media days, um, you can definitely
Oh, that
reach
would be
out to
great.
dogsdownsouth at gmail.com and let me know.
Yeah.
Fish, man, we're going to continue our SEC summer preview. But before we do that, I thought it would be cool to talk about. I just read an official article 4 hours ago, but saw it drop earlier today. The NCAA voted to approve age-based 5-year eligibility rule, reshaping college football. So this is basically saying it's five and five, right? So you get 5 years for 5 years of eligibility. You can redshirt. What is redshirting anymore, right? Does it even
Yeah.
exist? Redshirting is like I don't get no money that year, so I don't even know if that exists anymore.
Exactly.
But a lot of details, coming out. Basically, this is players will be granted 5 years of eligibility to be completed within 5 years of high school graduation or an athlete's 19th birthday, whichever comes first. There would be limited exceptions for factors like religious missions, maternity leave, and military service. In effect, the new rule eliminates red shirt. Oh, there it is. Eliminates red shirts across college sports. Under the previous system, athletes had 5 years to complete over 4 years. There would not be further waivers for injury or other. That's interesting, man. So yeah, red shirt
That
is
is.
done. Red
Yeah.
shirt is done. First thoughts, like what are some raw thoughts on that for us, Fish?
I mean, all I can say is just buckle up because college football is changing, and it's changing
Mm-hmm.
super fast now. It's almost like every time I turn on the TV, there's something else breaking, like some other news that's happening. Things are changing. Like that Senate bill got pushed through. Now it's on the Senate floor, right, for a vote.
Right.
Um, this whole Brendan Sorsby thing. And it's not that's not the college football stuff that I want to see. All
Yeah.
that crap, and I'm glad that's over. But it's changing, man, and you gotta either be cool with it or not.
Yeah.
And the whole red shirt thing going away is just not that it's very important. I mean, it is, but like that's part of the football nostalgia that we had. Like, there's no more red shirt freshmen, red shirt this, red shirt that, and that's an old word from back in the 80s and 90s, and that we used to say all the time, but not anymore. And that's just part of the evolution.
Do you think the NCAA is trying to set a precedent here that they're sick and tired of having to go up against, judges and the Supreme Court and all those other things over
Well,
eligibility bylaws for like, hey, I
I,
stumped my
I,
toe, you know,
I'm I hope that it. I mean, I don't know. I don't like or dislike the NCAA. I just know that's how it's always been. Like if somebody messes up, somebody breaks the rules, somebody does this, the NCAA gets it. They do their due diligence and then they lay down a punishment or a fine, and that was that.
right.
But like now, being able to like, oh well, they don't want me to play. Well, let me go find this local judge who's a big, donor or booster to my university or whatever, and let's see if he'll, sway a vote and or vote a certain way, and then that'll overrule the NCAA. Well, that makes the NCAA pointless. So why do we even still say the word term NCAA? Like, why do we still say that? Why are they still in existence if they have no authority, no power?
Yeah.
But so
Yeah.
it needs to be, there needs to be something. It doesn't need to be things that can get superseded or voted against if somebody says that things have to be a certain way. Like, there needs to be one entity, one, I think, one, not a collective, But there needs to be a group or something that decides these things. That there's clear, set, cut rules, and if you break them, that's that.
Yeah.
Like you accept whatever.
Yeah.
Because this things like what happened just a few weeks ago or the past 3 or 4 weeks with Brendan Sorsby, that doesn't need to happen. That's bad for football, bro. That's
Yeah.
not good for college sports at all. Because if he can do it and get away with it, why can't Joe Schmo or Sally Sue, go do the same thing? So
Yeah.
I'm glad that that kind of worked out the way it did. I'm glad that, I can't even believe because gambling on sports is like the cardinal sin. That's what you don't do as an athlete. Like that's Pete Rose is the best example. You know, he got basically the death sentence, and was just banned from any kind of baseball related anything forever. He's on
Yeah.
no video games, no nothing. Probably the best hitter ever play the game.
Yeah.
And nobody knows who he is because he
Yeah.
gambled on his own sports.
Yeah. And the Sorsby thing, man, I mean, I think the $1 million question that I heard a couple of weeks back was, what do we really think happened? Like, do we think it could have gone like three ways, right? Do we think that Sorsby came up and was like, look, I don't want you guys to have to make, I don't want you to have to make this about me. I don't want you to have to go through a year where Texas Tech has to take on the wrath of, teams and schools not wanting to play us from
Yeah.
the name and who we are. And he just kind of said, look, I'll just bow out. I'll go in the NFL supplemental draft. That was one way that you can look at it. Second way was, does the AD and the coach who, I mean, I'm just going to say it right here. The whole shebang at Texas Tech is out of their mind. Weird. I mean, just weird, man. Um, do they go, maybe we don't want all this publicity on us. Maybe we don't want this overshadowing of, we may have a good year this year. You're playing in the, I mean, we got to figure out a nickname for this Big 12, man, because it needs to, instead of big, it needs to be the sad 12. I mean,
Yeah.
so they
The
think I
mediocre
mean,
12.
yeah, I mean, they're probably going to, without Sorsby, still probably make the college football playoff with anybody in there that has an arm and five fingers. I mean, maybe four if
Yeah.
you can still spin it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But so we think that happened, or do we think that Texas Tech looks and goes, look, hey man, we'll give you your $5 million if you'll just ride off into the sunset and say that you are, you know, you're good with this, you're not going to do it. And I think that's what happened.
Yeah.
I think that Texas Tech was like, man, remember what we said last time? Like, you only got 1 year of this. Like, is it worth the future of Texas Tech sports where the entire, collegiate level sports of Texas Tech is being affected, whether it's swimming, diving, equestrian, anything you think of, like people are just going to underline it with, I'm not playing Texas Tech. We're sending a message, right?
That's
And
right.
so I think
And
that's what happened. But then you look
yeah.
at it, we were talking about it before we came on, and then, as early as was it today or yesterday, the NFL just denied him
It
supplemental
was today.
draft eligibility.
Yep.
I mean,
Well,
so
good.
where does Brendan Sorsby stand? I mean, I think this is a sign that he's going to be serving his time for gambling. Um, but like, what does this do for Brendan Sorsby? Like, where does this put him? Is okay. Here's the question from all this: are we going to see Brendan Sorsby like signing at like, I don't know, like Boise State next week? And yeah, I mean, what? Where does this leave him? Do you think we see his name in college football again?
Not this year. I mean, I think
So he's going to sit a year?
everybody, I don't know, but what I do know is that whatever happens, he deserves it
Right.
because he broke the cardinal sin. He did the one thing you don't do. Like every athlete just knows you don't do that. Like they're all
Yeah.
like that's not it's not okay. Like Calvin Ridley did it. Boom, missed a whole year, had to sit out a whole year.
Yeah.
They have rules, and the NFL wasn't going to let him loophole it like Jim Harbaugh did. He breaks all these rules and violates all these things, whatever guidelines in college football, and then bounces to the NFL, no harm, no nothing, like it
Yeah.
didn't even happen.
Yeah.
And I think the NFL was like, yeah, you got me, fool me once, kind of a situation, shame on
Right.
you, fool me twice, shame on me, and I don't think they're going to let that happen. I think that's what they're doing.
Yeah.
And cool, good, he should. I mean, I'm
Well,
sorry, I don't
imagine if
like
they did it
dislike
right.
him.
Imagine if they
Yeah,
did it right. I think this would be different. Imagine if Texas Tech does what they're supposed to and goes, look, we take the 1 year, right?
hmm
I mean, and I don't remember what it was. Was the NCAA saying he's done, he's out, he's kicked out, like it's done, or were they ruling him ineligible for the year?
I think it was just ineligibility for the
Right.
year,
So imagine if
but I
Texas
think he
Tech,
was out of eligibility after that.
right? Maybe
I
that
think
was,
this was
but
his last year of eligibility.
maybe that was it. But I'm just thinking in the great big
Yeah,
scheme of things, maybe if it works out, if Texas Tech just does the right thing, hey, let's do what we can. Let's get you some help. Obviously you have a gambling addiction. It's a little bit different. Maybe it is. I don't want to speak into that. Um, but we'll get you the help you need. We'll get you on your feet and going. And what if we did the right thing and it works out a win-win? This kid is set up better for
hmm
the NFL. He has a better storyline to talk to scouts and coaches about, and when they're asking these questions, instead of going, well, yeah, I tried to dodge it and then I skirted it to the left and then I decided to make my name a little bit better by leaving Texas Tech and not putting it on them and going the supplemental draft. And then I got shut down by the supplemental draft. And now here, and instead of just going, yeah, man, like I did my time, I went and got help. Feel like I'm in a better place. I think maybe that story goes a little bit better at a draft combine a year
yeah,
from now.
yeah,
So,
and I think money got involved. Like, I don't think necessarily maybe he wanted to take
mhm,
it the way it went. I think he was getting influenced by dollar signs and
mhm,
big, people making decisions in his ear,
right,
whispering in his ear, telling him what he ought to do, what needs to happen. And that's cool, but he's the one who's going to pay the price. It's not going to be the booster, the judge, anybody else. It's not going to
right,
be anyone else. It's all on him. It fell on him. His name is the one who's like dragged through the mud by all this stuff.
right, right. It's wild, man. It's really wild. And all I can say is that I agree with you. If anything, I think is karma is is Lubbock, right? The
hmm
judge that made it all. I mean, that guy should be ran off like
Out the
what
state.
do you call it? The what do you when you're a judge? What are you? You're on the what? I don't even know what you're on. Ran out of the courthouse and probably needs
Yeah,
to retire and go and live
stay
somewhere
retired.
else because
Wasn't
that
it a
is a
retired judge that came out of retirement to make the to do, dude? He should have. He needs to just go to Maui and chill. Like,
bro.
take the money he
They had
got.
to pull somebody that would hop on board and make the right decision.
Exactly.
Uh,
And because somebody that didn't care, that just was ready for the smoke, I guess, but then wasn't. I don't know.
100%,
Either way,
100%.
it's it's over.
So Fish, since we last were on as well, man, heartbreaking. Georgia baseball goes home in the College World Series, inevitably losing
Ah,
to Oklahoma, which is the national champion now. Last night they convincingly beat North Carolina 13-2.
dude.
Man, what a season for Georgia baseball, right?
Yeah.
I
Most
mean,
wins that in
disheartening,
program
obviously.
history.
Yeah,
Most wins in program history. Most home runs in program history. A lot of top two or three national rankings offensively. Got the Golden Spikes winner, got the whoever else award winner. Like, this dude won three things. Like, he had, I think he got the Triple Crown, or I don't think they've announced the Golden Spikes winner. But if he wins the Golden Spike Award, it'll be the Triple Crown or whatever they call it. I don't
yeah.
know much about it, but it was fun to watch. It was a nice ride to go on, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
Sad it ended the way it did, but nobody was beating Oklahoma, bro. Like,
They were just on a tear, man. And Georgia has
they
been
got
on those
so hot.
tears. Yeah, they've been on those tears throughout the year as well. And
Yep.
hard to beat, hard to it's hard to beat offense that, especially with this aluminum bat. And I'm gonna give my 2 cents. I think there were times in the College World Series where I felt like, and I still feel like this. I feel like college baseball is either has to make a decision. Either umpires have to figure out that strike zone cannot be as tight as some of them were keeping it, in a league with a bat that can hit the ball like it can, or
Ping.
or maybe it's time to go to wooden bats in college football. I mean, in college baseball, like
Oh.
college football. I mean, what do you think? I mean, I felt like I watched some of these games and I'm like, man, pitching was brutal because I felt like pitchers were having to put the ball like on a corner
Mhm.
and then, I mean, high and low was okay, a little bit out of control, but
Inside
man,
outside was not.
East and West was tight, man. What do you think?
Dude, 100%. And I think what we're going to see, like we saw in the SEC tournament, because they were flirting with that, what's it called? VCS or
Uh-huh. Like AI
HSW or
pitching. That what
whatever
you're
the
talking about?
thing is. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Where they can challenge calls, a few calls a game.
yeah.
Um, I think they're going to eventually switch over to that. But yeah, I don't want them to go to wooden bats. I am a strong, strong proponent of the ding. I love the boop, the bing,
Yeah,
bing, and then the ball just goes. Phew. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's so awesome, dude. Like, I don't know how many home runs Oklahoma hit this in the College World Series, but man, they were just going over the fence at
Bro,
a
they're
at a
still hitting
rapid
them
rate.
today. They don't even play today and
I
they're
know,
hitting homers. Golly, man. Like
dude.
I that is one thing I will say, and last thing we'll talk about that I'll say about baseball is, you know, I will say that I'm starting to wonder something to look into for Wes Johnson next year is does our ballpark
Man, they got to fix
does,
it.
does it enable us? Does it disable us from going other places and our offense performing? Because I mean, some of those hits in our ballpark are out of there. Some of those balls that we hit it's just weird, man. Like that
Just
right
go
field
330
is
down the line.
yeah,
Go 330 down the line. Go 402 in center, and
yeah,
call it a day.
yeah,
You can move the trees back. They'll be fine.
yeah,
You can move the batter's eye back. That'll be fine.
yeah,
But and 350 down the left field line and 315 down the right field line. I mean, and then but the part shrinks like really fast, like from center to right. Like it's it's
yeah,
it's crazy. I mean, it's the lefty's dream. But if
yeah,
you're a righty, I might want to go somewhere else.
yeah. Wow, man.
Or
Well, hey, man, great year for Georgia baseball. I'm already hearing the reload. Obviously, a lot of players. Dan Jackson. You're losing Phelps. Obviously, you're
yeah,
losing Vieg, and I forget the first the pitcher who threw a really great game against Texas the first night out.
Volchko,
Volchko. Yeah, I
Joey
mean,
Volchko,
yeah. So you're losing, and obviously,
Kobe Branch too, the
shortstop Kobe
shortstop.
Branch. Yeah. So,
Yeah,
but lot to look forward to.
yep.
And I know we'll
Wes
reload,
Johnson will
and
reload.
yeah, man, we're back as far as baseball. So I
He's got
think
a
we'll
good
reload.
coach. We got a great coach. We
Yeah,
gotta make this man happy. We
yeah.
we
I
don't
think
want
we'll
him to
make
go
him
anywhere.
happy. I mean, I think he likes being
Yeah,
where he's at. I mean, he left
yeah.
LSU, and the story I heard about him is it was a whim that Josh Brooks was able to get him. He made a few calls to him at LSU, and he asked him what he'd be doing this day and what he'd be doing that day, and he's like, "I'll be coaching baseball, man." And he's like, "Well, can you do this?" He's like, "No, man, I got baseball practice." He said, "I got this, I got that," and he's like,
Yeah.
and so apparently there were meetings going on in Pensacola, and so Josh Brooks just by chance was in the airport when Wes Johnson was coming through to set up the interaction with him to kind of talk to him and kind of I guess organically off the rip interview him. And then he
Hmm.
called him 2 days later and he said, "Hey," and he called him on his cell phone. He was in the bullpen and he said, "Hey man, I want you to be the head coach at UGA." And he goes, "Are you in or you're out?" And he said Wes Johnson like looked around and he's like, "I guess I'm in, man." And so it was like the meeting in the airport was the crutch. I mean, the Josh Brooks being very, very like, just like, "Look, man, I got to make this happen. He's going to be in an airport. I'm going to see him. I'm going to run into him. I'm going to make it happen." So, pretty cool
Hmm.
story that I heard about that. I think it
We
was
got a pretty good
Rusty
AD,
Manziel.
man.
Yeah,
We got
Josh
a good
Brooks is good,
AD.
man.
I
Josh
like
Brooks is
Josh
good.
Brooks.
Rusty Manziel told that story, and I was like, "That's interesting right there." But
That is
All right,
cool.
Fish, we're going to continue on with our SEC summer preview. And, man, we got two good teams to look at tonight, man. One has been a menace to Georgia for a long time, and the other has been someone who used to be a menace to Georgia, but as of late, Georgia has owned them. But we're going to start with the Alabama Crimson Tide tonight. So a lot of mixed feelings about Alabama this year. A lot of sports writers have Alabama kind of in the middle of the pack in the SEC this year. But as we start kind of the preview, we're gonna talk about a few things. We're gonna talk about keys to what's going to make Alabama successful this year, what they have on the offensive side of the ball, defensive side of the ball, what they need to do this year to be competitive and make it back to an SEC championship and vie for a national championship. And then we're going to go game by game and figure out kind of what we see their record at, Fish. But first off, big story about Alabama is who's the starting quarterback going to be? Now, I think when they take the field, I think there could be one or two things that happens, but I think at the end of the day, I think this is going to be the Keelan Russell show. I think he looked really good at Alabama's spring game. I think he brings a lot of athleticism. He brings a lot of you know it's kind of that elusive excitingness that I think you've seen the model of Trinidad Chambliss, and you go, man, if I got a quarterback who's exciting, has great legs, has a good arm, we take a chance on him. Can we get him? Can we get it to hit? And if it does it change our season, right? But obviously, Alabama last year, when you look at what they did last year, 2025 results, the big losses, obviously, that you can remember. Obviously, the opening week against Florida State was pretty horrific for them. They went to Vanderbilt and did not pull that game out. And then obviously the close one at the end of the year, 27-20 with Auburn, that I felt like any other coach with a heartbeat at Auburn could have won that game that day, right?
Should have won that game. Should have won that
Yes.
game. Oh my God.
So
I had
Fish,
to
just
console my wife.
organically opening thoughts, like, what do you, I mean, we're not talking names, anything, like, what do you think are some things about Alabama this year? How do you feel like, do you feel good about Alabama? Do you feel like they're going to take a step back? Like, what is your kind of, I guess I would call it your meter of success or no success?
I mean, no lower than middle of the pack. If they have, if at worst case scenario, I think just strictly based on the defense that they're going to bring back this year, they're going to have a good defense. That side of the ball isn't going to be the question. I don't think it's going to be the run game, and if which quarterback proves to be the like pulls ahead in the race. Keelan Russell probably is going to end up being that guy. I know he can make all the throws and he can run. So, that's like you said, like Trinidad Chambliss was a great comparison because, yeah, it's like 50-50. Who was Trinidad Chambliss at the beginning of last year? We weren't talking about him. And he ended up being one of the, better stories coming out of the SEC this year. So, and he's coming back next year thanks to, loopholes and stuff like that. But
Right.
that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I'm gonna 9-3 is 10-2. 9-3 would be a disappointment. 10-2 would be overachieving. I think I'm going 9-3, 8-4, something like that. That's what I'm thinking.
So, I mean, you look at Kalen DeBoer, and a lot of speculation this year about at what point does the seat get hot? What does that look like? How do we progress through that? Things of that nature. But let's look at the meat and potatoes of what they're working with, and then we'll break it down game by game. But obviously, names to know coming back. Obviously, who may or may not fight for this position at starting quarterback is Austin Mack, along with Keelan Russell. Then you got Ryan Coleman Williams. A lot of us know him as Ryan Williams, but he added Coleman to his name this year. Don't know the deal with that, but
I had to read that 3 or 4 times before I was like, "Is this the same dude?"
Yeah, exactly. Ryan Coleman Williams. names to know on the defensive side of the ball. This is a young defensive line, very young defensive line. Terrence Green, Kedrick Bingley Jones, Devin Tompkins. Yonsei Pierre is going to be a linebacker that returns with the most amount of tackles and sacks from last year. This will be a very young linebacker room. But what is promising about Alabama is their secondary. They return Bray Hubbard, Keon Sabb, and then Xavier Brown. So this is going to be a secondary that's going to be very well, represented as far as leadership. So this is going to be a tale of kind of two things. Now, before we get into what we think is going to make or break, three big questions, things of that nature. I will say that I feel like when you look at this roster, I feel like there was a lot of question at the beginning of the year of did they kind of go cheapskate in the transfer portal and did they really spend what they needed this year to kind of recoup this team to get them where they need to be, right?
Yeah.
So that'll be a question mark when we see this team on the field. I mean, what kind of depth? You had a lot of people, you had a lot of guys leave this year to go to other places. They thought they could be more, what I would say, effective. But when you look at the three big questions, the first one I have is can Alabama run the ball? Can Alabama run the ball this year? This offensive line is patched together. Last year, you saw what Alabama was when they could not run the ball. So my first question to you as Fish is, I think a lot of the statistics that will rise and fall on if Alabama has a successful year or not is, can they run the football and are they going to start going, look, if I can put 7, 8 in the box, I think I can be successful in beating Alabama. What do you think?
Yeah. I mean, apparently it's up to, that true freshman they got coming in, EJ Crowell. He could, provide a much needed spark, I guess, so to speak, that they need, because something's got to give with that, because that was the most unlike Alabama thing I've ever seen, or an SEC team that was just so inept, that just had athletes. Now, is it scheme? Was the offensive line just not feeling it? Was it the running back? Was it? I don't know. Like there's a lot of things that could have contributed to the lack of a run game. But I mean, that cost them a lot of games. Like that cost them. I mean, that's why we were able to beat them so bad in the SEC championship. Man, they couldn't move the ball. All we had to do was sit back and wait on a pass. And I don't know. That's got to change.
Do you feel like that? Do you feel like that Ryan Grubb was had any part of that? Like, I mean, you look at Ryan Grubb, he was going to be the big saving grace of Alabama football. This was the partner in crime to Kalen DeBoer at Washington. He leaves Seattle, and then you get in there and he gets. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like he got fancy this year and he called some decent games, but when Alabama can't line up and run the football, I mean, Nick Saban probably had a mild heart attack when the only answer to getting 1 yard was throwing the ball to outside to their big left tackle to get 1 yard. I mean, Saban's sitting there going, rolling over in his. I mean, he's not dead, but I mean,
no, he's not.
He's losing his mind, dude. Right? I mean, what the
Alabama teams are bold. Pumped. Just like if they had showed him, I'm sure his head would have been in his hand because that was crazy. But I enjoyed watching it.
So, second thing. So, I just said this, but will the young offensive talent emerge? Like, we're looking at NIL, right? They spend a lot of money on Crowell, right? They put a lot of money interest into him. Obviously, Ryan Williams, he's going to have to put up this year. In the past years, I think he's played a little bit of the, hey, if Ryan Coleman Williams has a good year, an okay year, like I feel like the people around him can make a difference. But these young guys mixed with a little bit of, I call it Ryan Coleman Williams being older, but the young guys are going to have to step up. And where is the leadership going to come from? And I'm just wondering when this happens. I mean, you're looking at Keelan Russell was a Gatorade National Player of the Year. 5-star running back EJ Curl. I mean, these are guys that have all the talent in the world, but they're going to have the leadership right out of the gates. And I don't know if they have enough of it. What are the chances that leadership and youth can strike them this year? Do they have the most talent, but when it comes down to stupid plays, emotions, what does that look like for Alabama? Because we've shown under Kalen DeBoer, um, I mean, if anything's been shown under Kalen DeBoer, it's we can see some emotions on the field that would never have happened when Nick Saban was there. Do you agree?
Oh yeah, definitely, dude. The the discipline is different, and like, it's just that's part of what made Nick Saban Nick Saban. His teams were composed. You know, they knew that if they did this, then they knew cause and effect, and they wouldn't step out, not step out of line. That sounds terrible, but you know what I mean. Like, just the emotion wouldn't never really got to a Nick Saban coach team as much as I've seen that affect Kalen DeBoer's teams. Like, yeah,
Yes.
there's a drastic difference. Drastic difference.
Yes. Yes. And then the other question is just like, can they make the playoffs again? The SEC, I mean, a 9-game slate this year, right? Youth, in a 9-game SEC slate is huge. And then when we get into some of these games in a minute, like it's going to teeter on. This could be for Alabama to get back to the playoffs this year. It will have to be one of Kalen DeBoer's best coaching stints of his career. I mean, I really do think that. Not because Alabama's not good. It's just because the SEC is so good, especially this year.
Yeah.
This is a quarterback-driven SEC conference this year. A lot of more quarterback names are known this year than the question marks behind the names of the quarterbacks that we didn't know last year, or we knew we didn't know what they were capable of, right?
Absolutely.
Let's hop in real quick. So they open up 2026 September 5th, East Carolina at home. Pretty easy for me. I think they open up on East Carolina. I think they win this game. It's a good warm up for them. What do you think, Fish? You got to win this game or lose this game?
Yeah. 1-0.
1-0. Agree. At Kentucky, this will obviously be a place where Kroger Field and Kentucky will feel like under their new coach will feel like they can maybe grab one. They can if they can beat an Alabama team that may be a little bit down this year as towards previous years. This will be the starting point of a really great career with a new coach and a new Kentucky offense and all these other things. But with that being said, what do you think? What do you think the outcome of this game is? I still have Alabama going in and being able to win this game.
Well, yeah, and more than likely that's probably what's going to happen. But it could be another Florida State situation. Where they go in and they're heavily favored and they go in and they lay an egg. I mean, we're going to learn a lot about them that game. That's not a lot of teams. I know we don't have a test like that, true road game in the SEC right off the rip like that. That's game number 2, right?
Yep, game number 2 for them. Yeah.
That'll be a fun game to watch. That'll be one that I'm going to want to pay attention to, because that's like I said, we'll learn a lot about Bama that week.
Yeah. September 19th, Florida State. They get them at home now. Revenge a little bit on the line for Kalen DeBoer. All they're going to hear about is how, they laid the duck last year at Florida State. We don't know what kind of, I don't know, man. Like, I can just aggressively feel like Florida State is just getting worse and worse every year.
This is Mike
That's a whole
Norvell's
nother
last year.
show. Yeah, that's a whole nother show to talk about the ACC. But Florida State, there's nothing really on here that makes me think out. There wasn't really a lot on here besides what's the Castellanos last year that I thought was going to give them a boost last year to beat Alabama, and did. But there's really nothing on this roster that tells me they're going to be able to go into Bryant-Denny and beat Alabama. So I got them at 3-0. Do you got them? You got them any different?
No.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. Barring some sort of meltdown, or like Keelan Russell and Austin Mack are just locked in a still unwon, quarterback battle.
Right.
But and then a lot would be having to go wrong for them to lose that game.
Yeah. And of course we're gonna repick all these games. I mean, it changes week to week, but it's kind of fun to kind of breeze through
Hmm.
for Alabama fans, and we're gonna cover Florida here in a minute. But and that
Okay.
gets us to end of September, September 26th. They get South Carolina at home. This is a South Carolina team who is going to be playing in desperation mode this year. You got Kendall Browse. You have an offensive line that's supposed to be better this year. Um, but as we've reported all spring long, has had their issues with injuries and off the field injuries from playing intramural sports and pickup basketball and things of that nature.
Yep.
And they're paying NIL deals and letting these guys go out and do this is wild.
Yeah, I
But
know.
and it's a defense that's going to be great. It's a defense with you know much upside this year.
Yeah.
What are the chances that South Carolina Shane Beamer, right? Maybe at this point is teetering on whether he lasts much longer as a South Carolina coach. What are the chances of him going into Bryant Denny and catching Alabama off guard? Because we all know this year, you feel like in the SEC that every SEC team is is just destined for a slip up or a loss. It's just a 9-game SEC slate, and you just got to go. How tough is it going to be to go undefeated for the entire year, but also undefeated in the SEC? What are
Yep.
the chances that South Carolina can be this nemesis to Alabama in this spot?
Texas A&M last year really took a lot of the wind out of my sails for South Carolina, and Shane Beamer especially. I mean, you're up. What were they up? 24, something like that.
Hmm.
Something crazy. Up by 24 in the second half, and found a way to lose that game. I mean, I don't have a lot of faith in them, and this is a pretty easy SEC draw so far for
Right.
Bama. I don't think. I think they're 5-0. I think, or 4-0, whatever. I don't
Yeah.
think. I don't think Beamer goes in there and does anything.
So you got them into October undefeated. They
Mm-hmm.
open up
Unfortunate.
October 3rd. They head into Mississippi State. Jeff Lebby, another coach that I think needs to have a better year of improvement. This will be a better defense under Zach Arnett. I should say it'll be a defense that at least can tackle and
Mm-hmm.
not give up 187 yards of rushing, which was the basement of the SEC last year. That was per game, by the way.
Yeah. Yep.
So you got Mississippi State, and they have to go to Cowbell Central. Um, I mean, I got Alabama. I got Alabama. Having a test on the road. It's an SEC game on the road. But I think they come out fine in this game. I think they go to 5-0. Curious where you have them.
I think this is a game that an undisciplined team can go in there and lose. I think it might be an SEC Nation type of game. I think it's going to be undefeated Bama. Mississippi State. You know, not sure what their first few games are, but I think I think that's a game. Like I said, like a well coached, well disciplined team can go in there and win, no problem. Cowbells, no problem. But like we were talking about earlier, just not sure where their players' heads are at as far as leadership and stuff like that. So that's an interesting one to me. I think that's a very losable game for them. So I'm going to go ahead and pick an upset. 4-1.
Wow, wow, that's wild. Man, I hear you, man. I'm gonna. Hey, man, we have plenty of time later on to beat that one around.
Now, into September, I might change my mind. We'll see. We'll see when we repick this game. But right now, man, I think that's an upset.
All right, Mississippi State, man. Talk about what Jeff Lebby will need to give him a sigh of relief for this year. And it would an Alabama win, a Mississippi State win against Alabama would definitely do that. But let's move on. Georgia comes to town October 10th. I'm not going to really draw much into this. I do think this is. I think Georgia snaps the heist. I think this is a Georgia win at Bryant Denny. We're due one. What do you think, Fish?
Better win.
Right.
Better win. Like, I'm not even like I'll add on more, but I have some opinions about this game. But yeah, Georgia definitely easily 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns. Oof. All right. So moving ahead. So Georgia, I got at Tennessee. This is a tricky one, man. Really don't know who the quarterback's going to be. I think Faison Brandon will be the quarterback for Tennessee between him and McIntyre. Once again, kind of a Keelan Russell type thing. Now, this will be at Neyland. This is, I mean, when you look at all this on paper, I know we're going to do this so much more in depth. So I'm trying to make it quick, but I look at a Tennessee line that has one of the better lines coming back this year of all, not only the SEC college football. You look at Jim Knowles coming in, work on that defense. You look at Heupel, who no matter who's under center, I think Heupel can make them can make the offense go. I think their running backs are going to return. I think Tennessee could be a little bit better than advertised this year. This could be a tricky game for Alabama. This could be a test on the road. I have Tennessee. This is my kind of what you said. I have Tennessee needing to win this game for Josh Heupel. And we desperately need this for country music because Morgan Wallen gets to write another song about it. I think Alabama goes in and drops that game against Tennessee, and I think this is where the chatter starts happening because you're going to see 2 back-to-back losses. You're going to see back-to-back losses, and then they got to go play Texas A&M. This is where it gets weird. What do you got them against Tennessee, real quick?
Nah, like you said, man, and Heupel just looks so, I don't know, like he's about to explode. Like he wants to dominate and win these games, and he's been in a lot of close games and lost a lot of close games that were like a coin flip away, basically from them winning and changing the trajectory of his career in Tennessee. And he's on the verge, like he's right there on the edge, and I know he wants it, and I know that he's probably one of the hardest working guys in the off season right now. Like I don't think there's many working harder than him because, like, to get so close every year, man, where you can taste it and just like it just slips away, from some travesty, some crazy play, some instant replay that doesn't go your way or something like that, or some bad call, But I think Tennessee's hungry, and I think they get this win.
Yeah. What about Texas A&M? They get Texas A&M at home. I have Texas A&M being a pretty good contender this year in the SEC. I don't have them being, up there as the elite 1, 2, 3 of the SEC, but I definitely have them in the top 6 of being contenders in the SEC if everything lines up right. This is a tricky spot right here. They get them at home. It feels like if they lose 2 games to Georgia and Tennessee, this is desperate. I got them beating Texas A&M. I think they find a way at home. I think it would be absolutely unheard of for Alabama to lose 3 in a row, right? So I got them beating Texas at home because the next time around you got them at LSU. So you got them winning or losing against Texas A&M.
I think you're right. I think it's a big rebound off after the Tennessee loss. I think they come back, get it together, and they're able to pull that one off.
Yeah, so that brings us to November 7th. They're going to LSU. Lane Kiffin, this is his opportunity to just kind of go, hey, man, you overlooked me, and now I'm at LSU. I mean, this is a tricky situation, man, because this game right here, Fish, because if you look at the rest of the schedule, this game right here could make or break how hot the seat gets for Kalen DeBoer. And I'll tell you why, because there's a little game called the Iron Bowl at the end of this that could cost him what I think could be his job if he does not beat LSU. I think we can go ahead and say Vanderbilt and Chattanooga are wins, but I think if you've lost to Tennessee, Georgia, and LSU, you cannot afford to lose the Iron Bowl. I think 4 games for Kalen DeBoer firmly puts him on the hot seat, and if we're really just getting picky, it might be enough to get him out of there because Texas A&M is a swing game. It could I call it swinging. It could happen either or. It could happen. They could have 5
Exactly.
losses, right? So
Yep.
you think they go to LSU and win that game? I mean, this will be Lane Kiffin, man, offense, $40 million roster. What do you think?
I know we're in a hurry, so I'm just gonna make this short and sweet. Well, I'm gonna try to, but anyway, for all of the 1 or 2 fans that I have that are like my biggest supporters on this podcast that are sitting at home with my face on their T-shirt, the 1 or 2 guys, that love me so much, I will never, ever, ever, ever pick Lane Kiffin to win another game.
Okay.
I said it. I said it, and I'm not afraid to say it, and I'm not taking it back. Come at me. I will never pick Lane Kiffin to win another game.
Well, this will be an interesting year when we make picks. But I like it, man.
0-12, baby.
I like it. I think LSU's gonna. I think LSU's gonna beat Alabama in Death Valley, man. And let me just tell you, this is why. I mean, like I told you, I think that I will tell you like this. I think this could be an 8-4, 7-5 year for Alabama, and a 7-5 year questions whether Kalen DeBoer returns to Alabama. So this is going to be the turning point of a year where Alabama has to make a really big decision. Does he separate himself? Does he have that 10-2, 9-3 kind of year? 9-3 is still iffy, man. 10-2 type year. Maybe you can't, but like there's just variables, man. Like you can't lose to Georgia, LSU, and Auburn and Tennessee in the same year and expect to not have a hard conversation. Am I wrong?
No, absolutely not. And I guarantee you, Saban will board up his office or whatever he still has in the athletic department if this man becomes 5 losses. I mean, that's unheard of. When's the last time Bama lost 5 games in a season?
I can't name it, dude.
That would
can't
be
name it,
crazy.
man. I can't name it, and all I got to say is because we got to move on is Alabama needs to be concerned this year, and I think the concern is this offensive line and can they run the football, and they're incredibly young this year. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about that. 7-5. 7-5 is the basement. I think 10-2 is the ceiling. There it is. You heard it here. Florida.
You're right.
Florida, University of Florida, man. I've heard so much about Florida. I think if we can all agree with one thing is Florida is being hyped up as being, and I quote, substantially better this year. Automatically, why? Obviously, new coach. You look at the demeanor that's being brought in right now as far as the coaching, John Summerall, Billy Napier, John Summerall. When you look at those two, you look at the vocalness of John Summerall right now. You look at the demeanor. It's a coach that's working a lot more with a lot more wind under his sail. He's done a great job in bringing some players and keeping some players in the fold. He's done a great job recruiting. This is a team that could really turn some heads this year in the SEC. This is going to be a different team this year. Really quick before we kind of start really diving in, let's talk about like some names you need to know. Obviously, one of the biggest things, just like I had Alabama and Florida in the same mix because between Aaron Philo right now. When you're looking at that quarterback battle, and I think the freshman's name, man, I don't have the freshman's name. I should have the freshman name, but when you're looking at that quarterback battle, I think both of these quarterbacks could work. I think Philo will get the call because of knowing the offense with Buster Faulkner coming over from Georgia. You obviously Jaden Baugh, man, able to keep Baugh, at Florida was huge. You got Vernell Brown coming back. You got Harris, the left guard, Miles Graham, Jaden Robinson on defense, Kermani McLean, Bryce Thornton. So you look at pieces of this team, like in key puzzle pieces of this team that John Summerall was able to kind of keep in the fold, right? So big questions here. So first off, we just talked about who will start at quarterback. I really think that, I'm trying to also find. There's so many. I mean, we cover a lot of Georgia football, but I'm trying to branch out right here. Obviously, right? And is it Jones? I think it is.
Tremel Jones.
Tramel Jones, yeah. So, I mean, Fish right off the bat, like you think. I mean, I heard some good things out of Tramel Jones out of camp. I heard kind of similar things like Keelan Russell, very athletic, very exciting. Do they take the chance, kind of like a you look at Ole Miss and you look at what they hit, with Trinidad, and is everybody going to try to go the model of can we break this guy out and him be a deciding factor, or do we keep him in the fold? And
Yep.
Aaron Philo knows the offense, might not be as an exciting player and as exciting with his legs, but he knows Buster Faulkner's offense, and you got Jaden Baugh back there. So the first crucial thing I think is they got to figure out who the starter is. Who do you think the starter will be? You think, and why do you think this is so important?
I think Philo, because I think Buster and Philo were sitting next to each other on the plane, or either they took an Uber from Atlanta down to Gainesville together. I think they're pretty much a package. I think he's going to be the safe starter unless Jones just blows him away, has a great fall camp, because that's basically what it's going to come down to. As of right now, I think Philo still got the edge, but I think Tramel Jones is, like you said, I mean, he's right there. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be close, and I think
Mhm.
Buster Faulkner's familiarity with Philo is probably going to be what edges it out, unless Summerall is the kind of coach who will roll the dice like that, and go ahead and start the more exciting, more playmaker style, type of guy.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to watch.
Yeah. I agree. I think Philo's going to be the guy. I think it's a safe bet. But that doesn't mean you won't see Jones. I mean, I don't think it'll come down to will they bomb with Philo, and I don't think that's possible. I think you can't go off a spring. You just can't. Um, but now here's the big one. The second one is can the offensive line come together? Obviously, when you look at new O line coach Phil Troutman, he's got his work cut off. Summerall said it in camp flat out. He said, if those guys don't have a great summer, we got no chance. So he is looking at the offensive line going, none of this. I mean, we've seen what big names like Jaden Baugh and, at South Carolina last year. Remind me of Fish, who was quarterback at South Carolina.
Oh my God.
I mean, dude, we
His
we
name.
don't suck
Okay,
at
see, right. I
we don't
know.
suck at this,
I'm
man. It's just
slacking.
like we don't. There's so many names flying around, man. Many names coming around.
Oh my
Lenore
God.
Sellers. Lenore Sellers.
Lenore
So,
Sellers.
hey man, freak of an athlete, great arm, is going to be a top, I think, 15 pick next year in the draft. But he had no offensive line, and so he was not effective. So
Yeah.
I agree with him. Jaden Baugh doesn't exist. Philo, Buster Faulkner's offense doesn't exist, and we all know that the reason Buster Faulkner was a huge success at Georgia Tech was because Brent Key is an offensive line guru, and the offensive lines at Georgia Tech are always really, really good. So I think like that's a huge key. And the third key I think is can the defense force more takeaways? I mean, this is a secondary in the past 3 or 4 years that people have just thrown on them at will. Um, at will. I mean, I remember times last year where even Georgia at some points was not able to stretch the field a lot, not able to hit those 20 to 30-yard mid-tier throws and those 40 to 50, and we did it against Florida in some fashion. And to say the least, like if Florida doesn't take away big play opportunities and make some big plays like that, it's going to be a long year for them. This stands a chance though to have a little bit more the defense to have a little bit more toughness, in my opinion.
Yep.
And Summerall's he kind of comes across as a tough guy, Um, so, as we break down like who they have and where we see them at, keep in mind this is a brand new coaching system. I think a lot of people have Florida as I think you would agree they have Florida as a sleeper this year in the SEC. Now, I don't really
Yeah.
know what that means because I don't think they can win the SEC this year, but I think sleeper meaning some people look at Florida and go, "Man, I got them at 5-7." Some people look at Florida and go, "Man, I got them. They could be anywhere from 8-4 to 9-3." I don't know
Yep.
about 10-2. We're gonna go through it, but let's
It's
check it
gonna be
out.
tough.
Let's see. September 5th. And September 12th, I think we can rush through this and go FAU and Campbell at home will be warm-up games for them. I got them 2-0, and then they go down to Alex Golish, who me and you previewed him a couple weeks ago, who will be an Auburn team that will be improved and an Auburn team that will have a lot to say about this game because I feel like there's a lot of pressure in this game between Golish and Summerall. One, to see if Florida made the right choice because Golish was also on Florida's list, and vice versa, to see if Auburn, maybe they actually got a little bit luckier. Summerall was their first choice, but they ended up with Golish. Maybe they'll be thankful that they had him all along in the way it landed. But what do you think about the chances of Florida being able to go down into Auburn and win that third week of the year?
That's one of those up in the air 50-50 type of games. That's going to be the first big impact game for both these coaches. Well, Golish has Baylor, but that's a neutral site game. I don't know. But I think that's going to be the first true, at least, league test for both teams. And we're going to learn a lot about both of them for sure, definitely. Picking Auburn.
Okay. Yeah, no,
definitely picking Auburn.
Yeah, I agree. I'm thinking we're not really digging down too deep tonight, but just off the cuff, like I'm thinking this is a great backdrop for Auburn to set a standard for the year. The standard you want is if there's what we call if there's up in the air games and you get them at home, right? You get them at Jordan Hare, you got to win those games, right? If this is a up in the air game, I think Auburn needs to win this game. Because there's some games that are not up in the air later on that they're going to have to really fight through to stay competitive in. And this one right here is one that when it's a 50-50 shot at it, you gotta win. And the advantage should be, Alex Golish, USF Junior, and Jordan Hare Stadium, right? A lot of continuity, a lot of culture with USF and Alex Golish. So you got to hope that produces a win. Next they go. And this is why. I mean, you get Ole Miss at home, but man, does it shift right here? I know what you're going to say. Well, no, I mean, this is not Lane Kiffin, so I was just going to say I know what you're going to say. That's LSU. But like when you look at this, like this is kind of what I just talked about with Auburn and Florida. Ole Miss for Florida, this is a chance to make a statement, right? To go, we're real. You got a first year head coach at Ole Miss. John Summerall wants to make a statement early if he's going to turn heads like he says he's going to do. His first real challenge, right, in the swamp is going to be Ole Miss. Like, what are the chances for Florida to win this game in the swamp?
The swamp's not the swamp anymore. Okay. Like it's more like the Okefenokee than it is anything. Like it's not scary anymore. Like you can go in there and pay $20 for a guided tour and walk out safe and sound, no problem. Like it's just not scary anymore. And that's crazy to say because that used to be, especially as a Georgia fan, like one of the we don't ever want to play there. Never want to go. No good memories of the games that we actually have played there. So
you're not scary anymore.
It's not scary. Ole Miss all day.
That's good stuff. You're not scary anymore. I love it. Yeah, man. I think Ole Miss wins that game. I think it's I think Trinidad is that defense going to have to show me that they're better. That I can't vote on that second. I mean, I did say it was a key. It's a question and a key that secondary forces more takeaways and doesn't give up as many yards in the passing game. And I got to see it first, though. We'll talk about it more in depth later, but off the cuff, I agree with you. I think Ole Miss wins that game. Later on, October 3rd, they travel to Missouri. Just right off the bat, I think this is a tough one because you look at Drinkwitz, you look at a Missouri team that will be looking for big wins. In Missouri, they got a stadium that's been newly renovated. The Big M in the end zone now will seat more people. They won't be sitting on rocks. It'll be people. There'll be noise levels that are increasing in that stadium. It will be a better venue to be able to be a team that can cause a little bit more chaos as a home crowd. So this will be a tough game. If Missouri can find any passing offense, this could be tricky, right? who do you got in this game? Just kind of off of like summer vibes. Missouri, Florida at Missouri.
Missouri. Like you said, if they can find any kind of passing game, because the secondary still, even after the spring game, was still very questionable for Florida. So I think if Missouri can do anything through the air on offense, I think they're in the game and they win.
Yeah, I agree. I think Missouri wins that game. South Carolina, they get them back at home. For Florida, South Carolina, once again, you're going to ask this question all year long. What kind of state is South Carolina in, right? We're going to cover, or maybe I did cover South Carolina earlier in the year. I need to get my bearings right with that. But like the big questions with him is can Kendall Browse and the offensive line, can they block anybody, right? I think the defense will be good, but can they actually produce an offense that's actually makes Florida go out there and have to earn a win? I don't know, man. There's so many questions about still so many injuries on that offensive line. And can Kendall Browse turn Lenore Sellers into a threat? How far does that go? What does Nick Harbor do? I think South Carolina can't do it, man. I'm not really high on South Carolina this year from an offensive standpoint until I see it. So I think Florida gets them a win at home in the Swamp. What do you think?
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, I got them at Texas. Unless you see something different, I really think they go to Texas. I don't think they win that game. Georgia and Atlanta. John Summerall, he wants to drive this thing of, we hate Georgia and Georgia's number one on our list. Unfortunately, it doesn't do you any favors that you start out your coaching career with a home and away. Like for Florida, it's always been a little bit of an edge that we played in Jacksonville, right?
Jacksonville, it's like right up the road.
You got to come to Atlanta. You got to come to a place that is, for the last 10 years, has been borderline our second home. And I think this does not bode well for Florida. I think Georgia wins this game very easily. What do you think?
We don't like to lose at the Benz.
Yeah,
like that's basically a home game for us. I mean, it might not be Sanford, but it's Sanford East or Sanford West.
I like that.
I should say
the Sanford West Campus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Georgia UGA West Campus. I like that.
Yep.
Oklahoma, tough one, man. We're going to cover Oklahoma later on this summer, but Oklahoma's going to be a good team this year. I love the defense that's coming back with Brent Venables. I love the possibilities they have on offense and Jim Nagy in this GM role he has. And I think Oklahoma is going to be a very tough game for us this year. But they do have them at home. I don't think they beat Oklahoma. What do you think, Fish?
No, I don't think they're quite there yet.
Yeah.
We got Oklahoma winning that game. Fresh off a playoff run. Sorry, I wasn't going to die. That was it.
No, you're good. Vanderbilt, November 21st. I think, man, Vanderbilt's going to be on life support this year. I think Jerry Curtis is going to be running for his life this year. I think Vandy's a win. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't care where they play that game. I think Florida's beating Vandy.
They need this win, too, because they go into Florida State. And if you've ever felt the first year of John Summerall, you just got to go. If you don't beat Georgia, Florida Tennessee doesn't happen this year, which is sucky, man. That's a really great rivalry. That's kind of Florida Tennessee's not happening this year. So you look at Florida Georgia, you look at Florida and Florida State, and maybe this Florida Auburn thing starts to kick off a little bit. But you kind of look at these two games are only your big rivalry games. So if you lose to Georgia, you got to win Florida State, right? Because of recruiting wars. Like, don't you feel like this is a must to win? But it's in Tallahassee, but it's Tallahassee.
Especially losing to Georgia because they're running out of rivals to beat. And he's going to have to make an impact somehow. He's going to have to win some impactful games. And if you can't win the big games, and you got your rivalry games, that sometimes are big games, but there's like this game. This is a game that he needs to go out there and he needs to dominate Florida State. Like, leave no doubt kind of a game.
Yeah. I skipped Kentucky too. At Kentucky, I don't know, man. I don't think between Kentucky and Florida, I think it's a win. I think maybe closer than maybe people would to stay, but
yeah.
I guess I could have skipped them, but I think they beat Florida State. So that puts them at what? One says 2-2. It says 2 wins. They lose to, that says 2-2. Lose to Missouri 2-3. They beat South Carolina 3-3, 3-4, 3-5, 3-6. They go on a rough October, man, for Florida. 3-6. They come back with wins in November to go 4-6, 5-6. I think maybe Florida State gets you to 6-6. The 3 games that can really turn the tides to go 9-3 and be the shocker that everybody thinks they will be is Missouri, Ole Miss, and Auburn. So I think September is going to be a big month for Florida because it could possibly be the month that could change the outcome, whether they're a 9-3 team who's on the outside looking in of a possible playoff berth if everything pans out right, or scarily enough, 6-6, basement 6-6, ceiling 9-3. Do you agree? Disagree?
Yeah. No, I agree. You're 100% right, dude. I mean, this is one of those years that could, go a little bit this way, go a little bit that way. It all depends, and that's the fun. That's the fun of picking these games right now when we don't know a lot, but we're going to find out very quickly.
And don't hold us to it. I mean, I can guarantee you, week 1, week 0. I mean, you could go pull this audio. You could pull this audio, and we pick somebody, and we could pick somebody. I'm just saying, like off the cuff, like looking at what I think viewers are looking at this year with some of these teams and previewing. And notice we're doing all the teams that Georgia plays first. And we will towards the end kind of do more of a wrap up on teams like Texas and things of that nature that Georgia doesn't play this year. But yeah, man, so that wraps up Florida. I mean, 2 teams that it just feels like could have a Jekyll and Hyde type year. That you could see a 9-3, 10-2 Alabama, or you could see a 7-5 Alabama that's worried about does Kalen DeBoer have a job. You could see a 9-3 Florida that Summerall's looking and going, look, man, if I'm 9-3 with a team that I barely had an opportunity to put together, what can John Summerall be at Florida when he actually gets the players in there that he wants and more than 7-8 months of preparation under his belt? So very interesting for both Alabama and Florida. But Fish, as we end the night off tonight, I wanted to sit here and rank these games. I think these are going to be the status quo of importance this year for Georgia, but I want to know where you have them ranked and why. And the games I pulled out that I think would be on all 3 of our lists are in no order. I think it's at Ole Miss, I think it's Oklahoma, and I think it's at Alabama. Now, don't get me wrong. Auburn's important. Georgia Tech's important. I think rekindling that rivalry of going to South Carolina that late in the year. I don't know if Shane Beamer will be there at that time in the year. But I think these are the 3 games to highlight and circle on Georgia's schedule. Now, Fish, tell me about. Let's do our 3rd most important and give one reason why. It's there, but it's not the most important. I'll give mine first. I'll let you give yours. So my 3rd most important game on this list, crazily enough, is Ole Miss. Now, probably going to call me crazy, but I think there's a little bit less of a hex. I think we split this game last year. I think Charlie Wise Jr. is not the OC this year. I think this offense will look a little bit different. I think putting this pressure on Ole Miss this year to perform and have that Lane Kiffin-esque type swag with Pete Golding there, Cheat Golding there, is going to be a hard task. So I don't think that it's going to produce the same amount of hype this year. I mean, I think for Ole Miss, Georgia's not going to be a circle game. We all know that LSU is the circle game for Ole Miss, right? So I think for the most part, that's why I think, and I also think it won't be of importance to them too, because I think they'll overlook it because of the fact that they get us at home this year, right? There's a lot of reasons why I think it could be higher, but that's just kind of mine. What would be your 3rd on that list as important to more important?
Well, on my list, I didn't even have Alabama.
Okay.
And that's because I'm tired of putting heavy emphasis on that game and then just dropping the ball. Like, it's a thing that it's happened so much, and I'm just kind of gonna work past that. That's just treat it as another game. Treat it as just a normal game. We go in there, we do our job, we get out of there with a win, and then boom, Bob's your uncle. Everything's fine. So that's going to be my number three out of the three. I would say Bama is my of third least importance.
Okay, that's very good. I'll tag on to that. I got Alabama as 2. I think Alabama is on this list because it's just a problem spot in the middle of our games, right? It's a problem
Yep.
spot that we always it's a mind game, it's a hex.
Yep.
It's more mental than it is anything. And I think
Yep.
the importance of Georgia being able to, I'm just going to say it, put Alabama away in a regular season format. I don't think we will see Alabama again the rest of the year. I might pull this audio later and call myself wrong, but I think that's why you get past the hex. I don't think you're going to see Alabama in any kind of
Yep.
postseason this year. I really don't. So that's why I have them second. Who do you got second?
Ole Miss. Ole Miss. I think after the way we lost that game to them, we beat them once. It was close, real close. And then the second game, we were right there in it with a great chance to win, but we were just chasing Trinidad around like a chicken with our heads cut off. We just didn't know where we were going or what the next move was, and he made us look silly.
Mhm.
So I would love to go in to Hotty Toddy country and just blow them up.
Like it. Number 1 on my list of I think the most important game this year. And it was not the most important game on my list from the beginning of when I looked at the schedule around January, February. But it's creeping up. I think the most important game because it's early. Because it is number 1, it's important because you can either set an early statement or it's early enough also that if you were to lose it, you're not just at your wit's end and you're done, right?
Yep.
But Oklahoma at home is a huge game because I think Oklahoma is going to be a really good team this year. I think Oklahoma can be very scary if they find their offense this year. I think
Yep.
their defense is going to be incredible. I worry about that because when we have gotten into defensive battles with teams like Alabama, low scoring efforts, teams like Alabama, Florida in the past, these slip up games we had when, back in the day when we played South Carolina at the beginning of the year and those games were like 13-6 and things when they were
Yep.
defensive struggles all game long, we're really going to have to key in on can we create explosive plays and can we get to the quarterback? And we haven't seen that this year because we haven't seen anything this year, right? We
That's
can't
right.
wait to see it. But I just think Oklahoma is going to be really good this year. As a matter of fact, I have Oklahoma and Georgia early shot right here. Early firing the shot out there. I got Oklahoma and Georgia in the SEC championship.
Nice.
Barn burner right there. But
There you go.
Oklahoma is my most important game. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Out of the three, I'm definitely gonna say that that's an important game because it's Boomer Sooner, man. They're just one of those blue bloods who comes in with as much deep, rich tradition as anyone else. I mean, it's Oklahoma. We haven't played them since the Rose Bowl in 2018, and then before that, when's the last time we played Oklahoma?
Right.
So like it's one of those games that man, like we never played this team. We finally get to play them, and it's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I'm excited. It's not Bob Stoops. It's not, I mean, it is who it is. It's Brent Venables, man. He's proven. He's come around, and like you said, he's built a really, really, really solid defense. And if that offense can do anything, if Johnny quarterback over there can go a whole season without breaking his thumb, who knows?
Yeah,
So
John
it's gonna
Mateer
be it's
is
gonna be a tight game.
if Ben Arbuckle and them can just get the offense, if this offense can be what it is capable of being, I think Brent Venables has the closest thing to a dominant defense. And this defense for Georgia this year is already garnering conversation about, is this the closest thing to our national championship like defenses that we've had? The Jalen Carters, Jordan Davises, those years. And the answer is yes. They're really looking at it's going to be one of the more solid defensive lines that we've had in a long time. Linebacking core
Yeah,
looks fast, athletic. I
great.
think the secondary is going to be great. I think this Georgia defense is going to be really good, but I think this Oklahoma defense is going to be really good too. So I don't know. I like Oklahoma. I can't wait to preview them because I'm making a bold prediction that I might eat my words. But when I look at teams like the other teams that come to mind, like the Ole Misses, the LSU's, the Texas A&Ms, some of those other teams that hop into the mix of being an SEC contender, Texas, they got tough schedules this year. I would say the
Yep.
easiest schedule out of those four that we talked about was probably A&M.
Yep.
But Texas, Ole Miss, and LSU have really tough schedules this year. Really, really tough
Yep.
schedules. And we know to get into the SEC, I mean, that doesn't mean, I mean, we've shown it from time. I mean, you look at Georgia and Ole Miss, and Georgia won the SEC, slipped up, didn't win in the playoffs, which we've seen how that works. We've seen it in baseball. I mean, Georgia dominated, won the baseball SEC, won the regular season, won the SEC tournament, and then Oklahoma, who, if I'm not mistaken, we never played Oklahoma in anything this year in baseball, right?
Didn't play Oklahoma or Texas.
Yeah. So, we line up with them and we win this. And I'm not saying it was an embarrassing format, but I'm like, you kind of saw where we stood with Texas, but, not to dibble too far in baseball, but it just goes to show you that it's like the SEC and the importance of the SEC tournament. It's great. It's great pageantry, but it doesn't always tell the tape of who's the better team at the right time and the right
Exactly.
place. And so that's key. It's gonna be an interesting year, man. But yeah, man, that puts Florida and Alabama in the books. That gets us about halfway to our goal over this summer, which is good. We got about a what? I mean, if we're doing a countdown right now, I think Fish we're very close to being a solid 2 months
Yep.
out of college football, man.
Yep. Real
And that's
close.
like, I mean, it sounds better at low what 60 days. I think I need to start my countdown.
Yep.
Um,
We got to start the countdown because it is creeping up on us
yeah,
fast, dude.
it's creeping up in there, man. Any final words, Fish, for tonight?
Just glad to be back in it, man. I'm trying to switch back over into football mode. Usually it's when SEC, it's usually around media day time because I'm a big basketball fan, playoff basketball, I should say. World's college baseball, hockey. I've become a big hockey fan because we have a local team that's in the ECHL that we have been fortunate enough to go see play a lot. And hockey games are something else, bro. But usually, this is about the time of year where I'm starting to flip back over, and my focus is strictly 100% on football, as you can probably tell with some of my takes on what we're talking about. But man, I'm excited. I'm excited. I'm getting there. I'm starting to feel it. And just today, I realized how close we were to my kids going back to school. I think me and you talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
And my jaw's kind of been on the floor at how fast the summer's going by, man. It's going quick. We'll be there before you
Yeah.
know it.
Yeah. I agree, man. I agree. World Cup soccer is going strong right now. USA
Loving it, bro.
in the 32, the field of 32, right? In the field
Yep.
of 32. It's
They
going to be
won their
played
group.
out in it's going to be played out in Pasadena. It's California somewhere, right? Santa Monica,
Yeah,
Pasadena.
it's no, it's in wherever
Like,
SoFi is.
oh, LA.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. LA.
We'll go Team USA. I'm going to be heading to the cruise ship in the middle of Miami right when World Cup is going on. So wish me the best and pray for no soccer balls in the street.
Oh my God, I
But
know.
man, looking forward when we get back, Fish, we're going to tackle two more teams. If I'm not mistaken in my notes to prepare for on the docket, we're going to be looking at. Look at my notes real quick, man, so we can get everybody hyped up. We're going to be looking at. We're going to hit some teams that we don't play this. So we're going to be talking Texas, and we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking, and this is terrible right here. I'm looking for my notes right here. We're going to be talking to somebody, I can tell you that much. Texas, Oklahoma, man. Texas and Oklahoma. We stayed in the neighboring states. So Texas and Oklahoma, one of those we do play this year in the regular season. The other one is the one we described, which is a very, very important game earlier in the season. So looking forward to that. We'll be hitting that up not next week, but the week after next, and that will start to get us very close to getting towards the end of SEC preview. and into talking nothing but Georgia football. I know some of you probably may be like, I'm ready to do that, but it's good to know what we're facing this year. So, Fish, always a
Exactly.
pleasure, man. It's been a fun night. And dog fans, we are getting close. We will officially, too, the next time we hit the air, we will start our countdown. I might put something over here in the corner and just go, hey, this is how many days until we're between the hedges. But
We need
cool
a
to hang
live
out
ticker
tonight.
counting down to kickoff.
Yeah, man, just literally live, right? Live ticker. Maybe we even have like a live view of Sanford Stadium and go, we're going to follow along with it until no. I
Yeah,
wish,
we
man.
can point out our seats because this is where I'll be during the Auburn game. This is where you'll
Come
be
on,
at one
man.
point.
Come on, man. Come on, dude. You went to the Auburn game. I actually went
Yep.
to that game, man. We might have
Yep.
to do that just because you guys are going.
Yep.
Dude, imagine going live, Georgia Auburn.
That
That'd
would
be
be
incredible, dude.
awesome.
That'd be incredible, man. All right, Fish. Well, man, hope everybody has a great night. If you haven't already done so, go and like and follow. We're on YouTube, Dogs Down South. 24 hours later, Apple Podcast, Dogs Down South, Facebook's Dogs Down South, and you can catch us on Spotify as well. Go and drop us a like and a follow, as well as TikTok, Dogs Down South. Thanks for the support. Thanks for listening tonight. As always on Dogs Down South, you have a great evening and go Dogs.
Go Dogs, baby.